It was March of 2008 when 8-year-old Willie Robinson collapsed in his home. He was suffering from a treatable, frankly curable form of Hodgkin's disease, Hodgkin's lymphoma, but it had not been diagnosed because he had not seen a doctor. Monica Hussing and William Robinson pleaded guilty Monday to attempted involuntary manslaughter in the death of their little boy. Watch this.
A mother and father in Ohio plead guilty in their son's cancer death. So it was William Robinson Jr. He was 8 years of age when he died of Hodgkin's lymphoma. It's a very treatable form of cancer.
Prosecutors are saying this is about medical neglect. They're saying that this little boy begged his parents to take him to the hospital, and they refused to do so.
These people did not have that ability to get the proper health care.
They say they saw this lump on his neck. They say they thought it was just swollen glands. Fireworks in court.
Touch me, man.
I don't know.
I said get down. Touch me again.
Sort of a tale of two stories. What really happened that led to the death of this little precious 8-year-old boy?
Joining me to try to shed some light on this tragedy is John Luskin, attorney for Monica Hussing, Tom Rain, attorney for William Robinson Sr., and Lillian Hussing, Willie's sister. She's now lost her 8-year-old brother and watched her parents have to confess in court. Lillian, thank you. All of you, thank you for joining. But Lillian, I want to speak to you first. How are you hanging in? I mean, your whole family is gone. What is your take on what's happening here?
I think it's a horrible thing what happened to my brother, and I think if we would have got the help that we needed, that he would still be here today.
What prevented your parents from getting him that help?
I'm really not sure.
Gentlemen, would one of you like to go ahead?
There was a lack of medical attention because they were living in Trumbull County, which is a far eastern suburb or far eastern county in Ohio. They were not able to get the health care coverage from the welfare department that they sought.
What's also interesting about this case, Dr. Drew, is that nobody knew, nobody had a clue as to the cause of death until Willie passed away. It's a horrible, tragic case. They did not even know he had Hodgkin's disease or lymphoma cancer until they did the autopsy, until the coroner determined that was the cause of death. Now, again, Trumbull County social workers are already coming to this house for other things, even on a weekly basis. The social worker was made aware of a lot of different things, including the fact that Willie, on and off, had a lump on his neck. The social worker, according to my understanding, thought it was not a big deal, didn't do anything about it. In fact, January of 2008, a couple months before Willie so tragically passed away, the lump was gone. The lump was gone, so they didn't know, they didn't realize the extent of this young boy's injuries. This social worker was in contact with them on a regular basis. He described Willie, the social worker did, as healthy and happy. So nobody knew the extent of his illness. Had they known, they would have taken him to the hospital.
Lillian, did you ever ask, Lillian, did you or your brother ever ask for treatment, or did you ever ask them to take your brother to the hospital?
No, me or my brother never asked for him to go to the hospital. We didn't know he was sick. He didn't show any signs of suffering or being in pain at all.
Did he complain about the lumps?
No, he didn't. We would ask him if it hurt, and he would tell us no.
Dr. Drew, another thing, too, with all of this, had he been so sick and so ill, my understanding is these parents immediately would have taken him to the emergency room where he would have gotten immediate care and treatment. However, in our system, doesn't necessarily, if you don't have health insurance, if you're low income and you don't qualify and you don't have the benefit, the privilege of health insurance like most of us do, or many of us do, I should say, then doctors would automatically want money and charge before they even see any children. These parents try to take these kids to the doctor. They were told, no, not until you pay cash up front for each child. So they had to wait. They were in touch with the social workers, with the welfare department. They had 9 mouths to feed in this household, and they couldn't afford it. Now, had there been health insurance for them where they could get regular visits, where doctors could treat them and do physicals and observe them, this tragedy could have been averted. Now, the White House was involved early on in this case. They called myself and Mr. Luskin they were interested in this because in this day and age, there's no reason that any child should not be given the level of minimum health care at all. We're the richest nation on the planet. History judges societies by the way we treat our poor, our elderly, our disabled, and our children. Are you telling me that we can't provide the benefit, bare minimum of health treatment for any child at all? That's where we're at. That's where we're at right now.
I'm going to tell you, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're speaking a myth, frankly, because people are not turned away from emergency rooms. Children get health care. Most people, you know how frequently the uninsured are in this country. A lot of them are sick, and they get care. There is a catchment system, but you're right. It's cumbersome. It's difficult, but it captures people when they are sick and when they seek attention. You have to specifically not seek attention in order for the system not to serve you. It's cumbersome. I get that. If he'd gone to the emergency room, as you said, he would not have been turned away. He didn't go to the emergency room. My concern is, and this is a concern for everybody out there, if your kid is growing things anywhere in his body, get him to the healthcare system, whether you have insurance or not. There's county healthcare, there are emergency room. People will not turn you away. If you call and say, I want to make an appointment at a private doctor's office just because, yeah, you may get turned away. If you show up somewhere and say, I'm sick, you will get care. People do not get turned away when they say they are sick. And this is a cautionary tale for everyone out there.
The thing is, he never showed any signs of sickness.
If you have a kid and he's growing things in his neck, please, everybody, immediately take that child to health care.
The social worker
and he only had one lump? I thought you said it came and went. We're changing our story now. It went away and then it came back.
No,
that's a problem. Social worker is not a doctor. I'm sorry. Social worker failed you. I agree with you, but the social worker is not a doctor. Why was the social worker there?
Then he should have helped us a little bit more.
I agree with you. Why was the social worker there?
Dr. Drew, the ball was dropped on this. The ball was dropped. He was there on a weekly basis. The kid appeared healthy and happy. They asked him if there was a problem. He felt good. He felt fine. He was running around. There's pictures of him happy, smiling. He's on the swing set with the other kids. He's interacting with the other kids. He's eating. He's watching TV. He's doing what every kid does. He's got a lump. And it was not so grave at that time for them to go to the emergency room. Had they gone to the emergency room, it would have been a different story. But he's healthy and happy, and you listen to your kid. He's an 8-year-old, bright, happy, jolly kid. There's not so much of a concern.
I'm here to tell everybody, if you have an 8-year-old kid and a lump shows up under his arm, in his neck, behind his neck, hers, you take them to the hospital right now. You will get care. And that is a sign of either a severe infection, including things like TB and bacterial infections, which these days are serious because we overused antibiotics, another problem, or a cancer, or a tumor like lymphoma or non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
I have a comment.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead. My sister had the same lump on her neck. We took her to the doctors, and they said that it was one of her lymph nodes pushed out because she had an infection in her tooth, and it drained down into her neck. So therefore, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's cancer.
Absolutely not.
We did do the medical treatment and stuff that we needed.
Why didn't you take the boy to the medical doctor? Why didn't they take?
It wasn't my responsibility at the time, and my mom tried.
No, Lillian, I know. No, Lillian, I'm so sorry. It's not. You're the one that I feel bad for here. You've lost your brother. Your family is. Please, I don't think I just wonder why one child who had a lymph node appropriately taken to medical care and got the infection treated. The next one. It's a tragedy. It's a horrible tragedy. I just don't want this to happen to anybody else. And by the way, let me say, although we're having a spirited discussion here, I feel horrible for Lillian's parents. They not only lost a child, they've been attacked and maybe losing their freedom. I mean, I can't imagine a bigger nightmare than what's going on for their parents. I mean, it's not as though Lillian's parents didn't love this kid. You know, this is a horrible tragedy. What's that?
I mean, William Robinson.